So we have our final three. Xavier won part one, and of course, Ozza won part two, like I thought she would. But in this video, I want to go over Kyland and his exit interviews and talk about the reactions to his confrontation with Xavier. Now, Kyland's exit interviews have been pretty hysterical because he hasn't apologized not once. For example, in his U.S. magazine interview, where the interviewer asked him, did he regret his comments towards Xavier? And in reaction to did he regret his comments, he said that they were true. His comments, objectively, they were true. I would have loved to hear him say that. And he details this by saying, I'm a very literal person. I wouldn't say blunt because I think blunt sometimes lacks honesty. As far as literal, I look at the words that I said to Xavier, and I hope that other people do the same. And then in an interview with Entertainment Weekly, you know, basically asking him a similar question, he stated, I would say going back to the standard that Xavier and I discussed as far as what we want the first black winner of Big Brother to look like, we did specifically say, hey, having two of the strongest people sitting next to each other at the end of this game, we think would be achieving at a highest level. So again, in another interview, he doesn't apologize. And in his parade interview, he continues not apologizing. And answering a similar question, did he regret it? He states, we had admiration for people like Kobe Bryant, Goku, Kobe Bryant and Goku, and other characters who tend to prioritize going head to head with the best over simply finding the easy or simple win. This is Big Brother. Finding the easy or simple win is absolutely a respectable and strategic decision. It's just not the type of representation that I wanted to have. I thought that was something Xavier and I shared. He told me he and his family valued that. So that's what, three interviews now? The parade interview, the Entertainment Weekly interview, and the U.S. magazine interview where he's not apologizing. And in the Global TV interview, in reaction, did he regret what he said? He says, no, I was simply acknowledging the truth. Acknowledging the truth. And then in the final interview that I have here, his gold derby, asking did he regret the blow up with Xavier, he says, I was only bringing up the things that he had already said. See, this is why Kyland needs to come back. I can tolerate Kyland coming back because I love that he was willing to go all out and play the game, when it finally started at Final Six. And I really enjoyed his potential that I saw, you know, prior to going the distance with this racist cookout thing. Because he had, genuine allies he could have worked with to advance his game further. But as they all did, they sacrificed their own game so one of them could win 750K. And Xavier right now is realizing that fact because he recently made comments to himself where he stated, it's you versus Ozza. If you don't win, you go home. It's pretty much as simple as that. So this dummy realizes that if Ozza wins this part 3, which is simply questions, that he could lose. Because he was too scared to keep Kyland and guarantee himself at final two. I mean, I guess he didn't trust his lawyer ways, that he could argue, that he could make the argument for him to win. But he cut him. He did the coward thing, breaking the gentleman's agreement. And he got the confrontation that he got, which Kyland hasn't apologized for. And for people who've been reacting so negatively to it, man, just the hypocrisy, or maybe it's something deeper. Maybe it's just a dissociative disorder that people voluntarily choose to have. That mental disorder where people essentially disconnect from reality. They say and do certain things, and then in the next breath, they do things completely contrary to it and act as if those previous things never even occurred. Because you really have to be delusional to find what that confrontation brought out between Xavier and Kyland. You really have to be hypocritical, delusional, all of the words that you can think of if you got offended by what that brought out. Because at least in that confrontation, no one was racially slurred, and it wasn't based in racism, like the rest of this season has been. I mean, the people who react negatively to that, I mean, you just gotta love it, because those are the same people who've been cheerleading a racist season, this entire season. These are the same people who have been joining in on the racism and the sexism by calling people like Xavier and Kyland and Derek F., calling them misogynist and calling them coons. But these same people want to be mad at Kyland. I mean, that's just no integrity, no dignity whatsoever from people like this. And when I say these people, I mean the woke Big Brother fans, Big Brother alumni, and Big Brother podcasters. And any of the house guests of this season who dare act mad over Kyland versus Xavier, how about be mad at your entire season for being not only the most racist season in the house, but this season also helped breed the most bigotry online. But yeah. I just have to point that out. And I also have to point out that the same people who dislike Kyland's confrontation with Xavier are the same people who love Evil Dick. The dude who poured a drink over a girl's head young enough to be his daughter, burnt the chick with the cigarette, joked about, anally raping her. Yeah, that person that they cheerlead and still support to this day is also the same people who love Davonne. Davonne, a chick who called it a dude a racial slur, and pretty much supported her fans attacking that guy, a guy who doesn't even attack back. These are the same people acting like what Kyland did was so horrible, as they have cheerleaded this entire season, and as they cheerlead people like Evil Dick and Davonne, who got rewarded with AFP, by the way, for her behavior. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tiffany gets awarded that at this, just like Davonne did. Hopefully Derek X wins the AFP, stop Asian hate, because, he was a victim of that this season, Asian hate. But again, it's just another example of the shameless hypocrisy amongst CBS if they act like they're offended and don't invite Kyland back. And the shameless hypocrisy that's been going on amongst the alumni and fans. I mean, I even watched a little bit of Derek and Cody's podcast, and when they were setting up their exit interview with Kyland, and they were talking about, they want to talk to him, and because he's a good guy and he didn't, you know, they were acknowledging what he did was wrong, but they were also still like supporting him. I'm like, dude, the fuck? He was a part of a racist season. He didn't do anything wrong in comparison to all of that. But yeah, these people are fucking cowards and dishonest, so they won't acknowledge that fact. You know, and that's why I don't generally listen to them. But I was curious to see their exit interview because when I was watching them earlier this season, they were talking about how big of a fan they were of Kyland. I guess Derek didn't see the helicopter story, but again, he'll be too cowardly to acknowledge that. And so yeah, celebrate Savage Kyland. I love how he didn't apologize in any of these exit interviews. And now I'm just hoping, prayer hands, that Azah wins this final HOH. You know, let all the ancestors of her Cameroonian ancestry descend upon her and give her the know-how to beat this man in part 3 who thought he was going to get an easy win so he can get his dumb ass cut at the very fucking end. Because it's what he deserves. He's been playing a coward's game. He's been playing a simpish game this entire season. And as I've stated before, it's very perfect. It's very fitting for this season to have an Azah and Derek F final two. Two people who've been laying down over 90% of the season, winning this bullshit season, where real gameplay didn't happen until final fucking 6 because people actively chose not to play the game. That type of season deserves a final 2 of Azah and Derek F. And if I had to choose which one I could see winning or would like to win, let it be Azah. Why not? Let it be Azah, and she can, you know, take some of that money back to her granddad that has the many wives. Because I want to hear more about that story. But anyway, looking forward to the part 3 and see who wins that. Prayer hands that it's Azah.